This video will cover 24 tips and tricks for music production, from general production tricks, sound design, mixing to even arrangement. All these tips are coming from my latest album, Awakening. So without any more chit chat, let's start with the tip number 1. Unusual endings. Sometimes to end the song in an interesting way, all you need is a chicken and some gunshots. Tip number 2. Don't worry. We'll fix that in post. If you're layering sounds and they don't fully sound good together, you can still sometimes fix them in post. Group all the layers and start applying effects. In this case, distortion works great for gluing all the elements together. Volume automation will help you control the shape of the sound. Another distortion to glue the sounds after adding dynamics to it and to beef it up even more. Cut unnecessary low end that distortion created. At the beginning, put the sound into a room using a reverb. Then after it, apply frequency shifter for pitch changes. At the end, use reverb to make the sound fit the rest of the song better. To make this sound work, add a bassline that matches the rhythm of the main sound. This is before. And this is after. Tip number 3. Same sounds, different patterns. Changing drum patterns while keeping the rest of the sounds untouched will allow you to get a completely different feel out of the same section. This is useful if you are kind of feeling lazy or you just want to add an unexpected twist.
Fuck that.
Tip number 4. Smooth intros. To smoothly introduce a song, take an impact from the intro and reverse it. Tip number 5. Make your pad sections epic. To make an epic pad intro, consider using these elements. Higher octave pad, lower octave pad, full and high frequencies rain, full and mid frequencies noise, and a respace. As you can see, we are filling all the frequencies of the spectrum, making this section super rich. Tip number 6. Vocal introduction. To nicely introduce the vocal, take a part of it, add a load of reverb, record, reverse and put it before the initial vocal. Remember to fade it out and not instantly cut it for a better transition. Tip number 7. Drum introduction. Take a drum loop from the drop and put it into the build-up. Now slap an EQ with a high cut on it to blend it with the softer part of the track. Now for its introduction, begin opening the filter. Tip number 8. Add variety with pre-shifts. Kicks and any other drums don't have to always have their clips start on the beat. Using a pre-kick, pre-clap, pre-snare is a great way to introduce some variety and make things more interesting. Tip number 9. Duplicate but with anticipation. If you decided that your drop is so good that you want to repeat it later, give it at least a small twist by removing drum sounds. For example, leave the first kick and get rid of other drum sounds while keeping everything else playing normally. Tip number 10. Remember about pads. Adding pads in the background is such a great way to make the track section fuller. You can stack pads and most importantly pitch them one octave up to create variation. Remember to EQ each pad after transposing it, since it will have different resonating frequencies. If necessary, match the pad with a certain sound. Tip 11. Swap snares. Make your drops more interesting by using different snares or other drum sounds. Snares don't always have to be the same, sometimes alternating between two different snares is gonna make the drop hit harder. Tip 12. Epic chord stacks creation. For making epic modulated chord stacks, consider this. Add super sauce. Add less detuned sauce. Clean and super sauce fill different parts of the frequency spectrum. Super sauce work more for the high end, while clean sauce fill mids better. Gnarly beefy bass is what you're looking for. Add a lead. Now in a whole group of these sounds, create a space in the mid signal here. This is a place where the additional centered lead will fit. Add volume automation. Now cut the peaks and finish it off with some newer compression. Remember that the more staccato sounds appear quieter because of how quickly they play, so make sure to adjust the audible volume of the sustained ones with the short ones. Tip 13. Heated vocal melody. So imagine you have a standard chopped up and high-pitched vocal. Then you add distortion to it. Then two frequency shifters, which then you automate the fine knobs of. And you get this. So keep imagining this, and in the meantime, tip 14, A-B drop. To make the drop really interesting, go back and forth between the A and B parts. A has one rhythm or one certain sound to it, and a B is a follow-up. This is commonly called a call and response and works extremely well. Tip 15. Resample and take a piece for a new melody. If you have a cool sound already, you can resample it and see if you can take a part of it to then use in a certain section. Tip 16. Vocal crackly bass. So here's a really interesting sound for you. This is a bass I made using a Sam Smith's vocal adlib. I put the vocal into a form, messed around with it, and then put it into the project. It wasn't beefy enough, so I started adding effects. For the vocal itself, I added some general cleaning effects plus a vinyl crackle for that sparkly top. Layered an 808 underneath that. And on the whole group applied LFO volume automation, distortion, OTT, utility to cut the leaking crackle sound, and some EQ for tonal control. Tip number 17. Reverse vocal melody. Take a vocal, reverse it, chop it up and arrange into a cool melody. Now add a ton of reverb and you got a really nice flowing vocal melody, perfect for the intro or into the background. Tip 18. Tonetransfer. One of my favorite tools for music production is Tonetransfer. It takes a lead melody and turns it into these instruments. For example, a violin. I'm just gonna hit upload. I'm gonna just drag this.
I don't wanna keep on saying.
Hit transform. Tip 19. Breathtaking vocal layering plus lead creation. Sometimes layering two vocal adlibs will create a dissonance that is just so beautiful. This works perfectly as the call in this drop. Then as a response, take the same vocal, chop it up and repitch to get this lead that kinda sounds like a violin. And well, here's also a violin as a layer. Tip number 20. Resample and chop. This one's really cool if you already have a part of the song down. All you have to do is to record it, chop the recording, then add a beefy bass, hard-hitting drums, and you have a nice heavy drop section. Tip 21. Drum matching. To keep things cohesive, when there's a rhythmic synth playing, make sure to match its rhythm with the drums, in this case hi-hats. Tip 22. Crappy sound into a tonal quality sound. This one is the main sound from Awakening. One day I made this track and basically what it does is it creates a resonance with a formant filter, making any sound tonal. Then some OTT and distortion plus vocoder to spice it up, make it beefy. Also some reverb to put it in space, and a texture plugin which adds white noise on top. So I've been testing different loops with this rack and finally one of them clicked. Added some 808 underneath. Heavy hitting drums, stabs, and that's how that was made. Tip 23. Crunch and vibe. This must be one of the coolest sounds I've ever made. Again, we're using a melody loop. And we are turning it into this. First of all, texture for white noise, EQ for control, volume automation for the vibes, distortion for beef, EQ to get rid of the low end that comes from distortion, Soothe for some general smoothness, put it into space, and then the same rack. And I think I forgot to cut the low end after that, and it now sounds like that on Spotify. The rest of the filling sounds have been made in the same way. Tip 24, arrangement. As the last tip, we can talk arrangement. The one I've been using recently and the one that is pretty common is this. Intro for 16 bars, verse that transitions into the drop for 16 bars, or verse 8 bars, build up 8 bars, drop for 16 bars, break for 16 bars, verse number 2, drop number 2, and outro for 16 bars. And if you give it a bit of space at the end to fade out, we're getting 3 minutes 5 seconds with the tempo of 150 BPM. Also, I've created a playlist with making ofs of these tracks, linking that in the description. So that's it for this video, hope you enjoyed it and hope it was helpful. If you want to stream the album, link is in the description. Also, if you're looking for quality sounds, check out oversampled.us, and if you're looking for quality plugins, check out plugins at oversampled.us. Have a great day and see you soon.